Y'all already know what time it is. Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back with my NCAA football predictions. As you can see, this lovely thing right here is what every team is going after. And it's going to be fun. Of course, the national championship this year, I believe, will be at the lovely huge, ginormous building right over here. Energy Stadium. Yep. Home of the Houston Texans, of course. Should be a very fun season coming up here. Hopefully, for my Buckeyes. By the way, I do have an Ohio State Buckeyes YouTube channel. I do Buckeye videos over there. Just started it about a month or so ago. So if you want to, go on in the description and subscribe. I've been doing a lot of recruiting videos, and my week one preview video, just like I do for the Browns on my main channel here, I'll be doing Ohio State preview videos on that channel. The first one coming up will be against the Indiana Hoosiers. That'll be out probably Friday night. Of course, for anyone who's been a longtime viewer of this channel, you remember, what was it, like 2 years ago, I used to do preview streams for every Buckeye game Friday night. So I'll be doing Buckeye preview videos on Friday nights. So keep an eye out for those. Should be a very fun season. A lot of question marks, but hey, I'm here for it. So, anyways, here's how this is gonna go down. So, not even what, a week ago, I think it was, ESPN, or the AP, the Associated Press, released their poll, their rankings, and I'm going to preview the schedules for all 25 teams in those rankings. And then at the end, I'm going to go through the conferences, just the Power Five. I'm not going to do every conference. I'll be here forever. I don't really want to be like that. So I'm just going to go to Power Five conferences, maybe even, a couple of the other Group of Fives, the American Conference USA and all that wonderful stuff. Because there is actually a few of those teams in the 25. Yeah. So see how things go. So, of course, to start us off, we gotta go at number 25, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Yeah, how about that? Iowa Hawkeyes, 25th in the AP poll. Interesting, right? I mean, last year, you look at their schedule, they went 8-5 last year, 5-4 in the Big Ten. They actually had a very impressive end of their season where they won 4 of the last 5 in the regular season. After they got drubbed by my Buckeyes, they went on a run. They beat up on Northwestern, which, let's be honest, that's not hard to do. Purdue beat them really good. They took down Wisconsin, Minnesota by 3, and then they lose a heartbreaker to Nebraska. But luckily, they won 8 games. They were able to get to a bowl game, and they blanked with Kentucky. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now you look at their schedule for this season, and let me move myself over here so we could all look at their schedule together. Their lovely schedule. In fact, what I'm also gonna do, little editorial here. I'm gonna do. Yeah, let's do that. And then let's actually move myself over here. I don't need to have the whole screen open. That's what I'll do. I'll just do this, guys. We don't have to have the whole screen because, of course, we want to see what the ultimate prize is. So there we go. It's even better. Yeah. This way we can see the ultimate prize right here behind me. And then, of course, we have the team trying to get there. Although, let's be serious here. I don't think I was going to be smelling a national championship for a while. Especially as long as the ancient ways of one Kirk slash Brian Ferentz emanates on that and that organization on the university. Because I mean, you look at their offense last year. Uh, they might as well not even had an offense. They stunk. But you look at their schedule this year. Utah State coming up next week. Way to start your season. I mean, Utah State ain't no pushover. They could definitely get you if you're not careful. But if Iowa plays their cards right, they could have a pretty good start. Maybe 3-0. I don't know how Iowa State's going to be like. Iowa State, of course, has given Iowa trouble over the years. Definitely. But yeah, they got to win their out of conference games. They have to. They have to go at least 2-1 because then you got Penn State on the road. Ugh, that's tough. Sparty, I expect them to be better. Purdue, that's gonna be tough. I'm sure. I don't know how Purdue's gonna be. New coach, new quarterback, whole lot of new stuff. But I think Iowa will be able to take them out. Wisconsin's gonna be very tough. Again, new coach and everything. You got Minnesota. Then you get your bye week. And the way I see it, if they head into their bye with 5 wins, that'd be great. I think they could easily be maybe one, two, three. Let me see how many games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5-3 is definitely possible. 3-5 is possible. 2-6. Any record is possible in that because I have no idea what the heck Iowa's going to look like. Also, you look at their roster. I actually had this pulled up earlier. They have a new quarterback, Cade McNamara. Yeah, if that rings a bell. He played at the team up north lately. Was it last year? He was in a QB battle with JJ McCarthy, and he lost out, and he wound up transferring to Iowa, as well as Eric All, also from the team up north. And for any Buckeyes fans watching, Caleb Brown is there too, former Buckeye receiver. So they were picking some guys off of off of our heap, huh? Oh, let me actually turn off the thing here. There we go. Ah, I gotta love it. But yeah, you see, there's the recruiting and everything for them too. I always love it how these websites take forever to load. It's always fun, lovely. But recruiting, Iowa's got the 9th ranked class in the Big Ten. Only 3 4-stars, 17 3-stars. And yeah, I mean, this is, of course, including USC and Oregon. So, and UCLA, of course, too. I don't think, yeah, they have not included Washington. That's so weird. Oh, yeah, they did. Wow. Does this mean UCLA, Washington, Oregon, and USC will all be playing in the Big Ten next year? Thought like Washington and Oregon weren't going to join until the year after. It wants to be slow now, so have to wait. Gotta wait. Love waiting. Always love waiting. Hurry up and wait. Yeah, you look at their depth chart here. I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, I think the only names I really recognize for sure, McNamara at quarterback, and then, like I said, Caleb Brown at receiver, Eric All at tight end. They have some decent pieces, but like I've said, oh yeah, Steven Wankba, yeah, he was an Ohio State recruiting target, but he chose to go to Iowa. They actually did have someone else, but he transferred to go to Bama. Tough. But yeah, nothing really notable with the Hawkeyes. They're probably going to be, lurking in the Big Ten West, like always. They might win the division, but it's going to be tough. So moving on, let's go to the next team. Number 24 ranked, Tulane. Yeah, how about that, huh? Tulane. ranked 24th in the first AP poll of the season. Now we pull up their schedule here as soon as I get rid of these lovely ads. Gotta love it. So, of course, I believe they play in the American now, right? Yeah, they do. Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So we go to Tulane. Last year, they had a fabulous season. They went 12-2 last year. They started their season with a drubbing of UMass. They crushed Alcorn State. They beat Kansas State. Then they turn around and lose a heartbreaker to Southern Miss. They then flip around and beat Houston 27-24 in overtime. Then they followed that up with convincing wins over East Carolina and USF. Then they beat Memphis. They had their bye week, come off the bye week, beat Tulsa, lose to UCF, beat the holy crap out of SMU. And then they squeaked one past Cincinnati. And then in the American Championship, they got their revenge on UCF 45-28. And then they went out in the bowl game, Cotton Bowl, and they beat USC. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun to watch. Now we pull up their schedule for this year. As you can see, it's actually looking good. What's up, awesomeness? They have South Alabama to start off. Then they face Ole Miss. Ooh, Ole Miss. Oh, ooh. Then they get Southern Miss. Then Nichols, followed by UAB, bye week. And then, of course, they have conference play. Memphis, North Texas, Rice, ECU, Tulsa, Florida Atlantic, and Texas San Antonio. I believe UTSA is a part of their conference now, right? Am I tripping? Damn. Texas San Antonio. They won their conference back to back years. Man, UTSA is a nice ass team. They play at the Alamo Dome. Man, imagine having that as your digs. Got to play at one of the legendary arenas. Nice. Overall, I think looking at their schedule and judging by how good this team I know can definitely be, let's take a look at their yeah, so they are in the same conference. Ooh. Imagine a Tulane UTSA conference championship in the AAC. Because of course USF and Houston are now gone. They went to the Big 12. So, this should be fun. You look at their roster. I mean, again, as you'd expect, no one that really jumps off the board. Seems like they have a nice roster. A lot of, like, they're not a young team. Some transfers in there. Dante Fleming, Cameron Wire. I don't know why Dante Fleming seems familiar. He transferred out of Louisiana. Okay. Lawrence Keys. Jaquan Jackson's in there. He's a redshirt senior. Quarterback is Michael Pratt with Kai Horton. And yeah, this team will be pretty good. Yep. This team will be pretty good, I'm sure. But as you'd expect, there's nobody that's like, oh, I know him. But I'm sure by the end of this year, if they're as good as we think they can be, I think we'll be hearing a lot about these guys. I would not be shocked to see Tulane in the conference championship game when it's all said and done. So, yeah, that's it for Tulane. Overall, I think you look at their schedule, I think they could definitely repeat what they did last year. As far as their recruiting goes, as far as recruiting wise, I'm going to see where they are in recruiting. They are actually fourth. Obviously, with them being a smaller program, they have 7 3-stars, 12 total commits. Obviously, recruiting isn't huge over there in the AAC, but I mean, if they continue to have success, they can definitely have some fun. You know what's crazy? Navy has 15 commits, but only 2 3s. Nobody else like higher than a 3 star. That's actually insane. They're loaded with like 1 and 2 stars. That's actually nuts. But what do you expect from a military academy? They don't necessarily have big recruiting, you know. It's whatever. It's a service academy. What do you expect? So moving on, we go to the number 23 ranked team in the AP poll. Them fighting Aggies from Texas A&M. Oh joy, this is going to be a fun team to talk about. So we simply hop on a bus and head a few hours west to talk about the mighty Texas Ags. Now, the Aggies have been known as a kind of subtle powerhouse team, I guess, over the years. They've had good seasons, they've had horrible seasons. I think it was, what, 2 years ago or last year? These guys, dead ass, like this was the first year of NIL being in effect. These guys just threw money at everybody. Every time I looked on Twitter, somebody else was committing to Texas and A&M, I should say. And then, as quickly as they all committed, it seemed like everybody was leaving. It's like, yo, did the checks bounce or something? Damn. It's like literally everybody went there to get the bag and then left. So last year, they had a pretty bad year, to say the least. They went 5-7. And that included a pretty bad loss to App State by 3 points. You destroyed Sam Houston State, which, come on. And then you beat Miami, you beat Arkansas, you lose to Mississippi State. In fact, after you beat Arkansas, you proceeded to lose every single game up until the second to last week of the year, where you took down UMass 20-3. And then you ended your season with a 38-23 victory over Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers. Just because, you know, now during this little stretch of horrible losses, 42-24 to Mississippi State, 24-20 loss to Alabama. Then you had your bye week. Then you lose by 6 to South Carolina, by 3 to Ole Miss. You get drubbed by freaking Florida, and then you lose by 3 to Auburn. Yeah, not good. As far as this year for the mighty Texas Ags, you look at their schedule this year, and it's interesting to say the least. New Mexico to start. Then you have Miami, Louisiana Monroe. I swear to God, if these guys seriously go out there and lose to New Mexico, nobody's ever going to take them seriously ever again. They should beat New Mexico. They should beat Miami, Florida. And if they fall again to if they fall to a ULM team, yeah, again, we're not taking them seriously. Because after that, yeah, of course, you got to deal with the SEC. Yep. Of course, you get Arkansas, you have Auburn, no surprise there. Arkansas is actually, again, in Texas, Southwest Classic. Then you get Alabama and Tennessee. Yeah. Then you have your bye week. Then you get the Gamecocks. Then you get Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Abilene Christian, and then LSU. Anything less than, obviously, like, I'm going to say 6 wins wouldn't surprise me with how Texas A&M is. Because in my honest opinion, they should beat New Mexico. They should beat Miami, Florida. They should beat ULM. Are they going to beat Auburn? It's at home. You should. I could see them losing to Auburn, Arkansas, Bama, Tennessee. on that usual slide that they go on, it seems like. I mean, look at last year. Like I said, they beat Arkansas last year and or whatever, and then they went he just fell off the face of the earth until the second to last week of the year when you beat UMass. Is that going to happen again this year? I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked at all. But yeah, I mean, we'll be interested to see how Texas A&M does this year because you look at next year's schedule, and oh, it's even worse than this year's. They face Notre Dame next year. Then you get your typical, should be wins. McNeese, Bowling Green, New Mexico State. God, don't sleep on Notre Dame though. But yeah, and we'll see how long they last in the AP poll though. Now let's take a look at the other stuff. Of course, the big thing being recruiting and their lovely depth chart. So let's pull up the depth chart. And while that is loading, let's take a look at their recruiting, where they are overall in the SEC. I'm sure they're probably working towards the middle because unlike Tulane, they actually can reel in 5 stars really without trying too hard. I mean, they clearly have a pretty big bag. Although, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the good thing is I haven't seen A&M players leaving in mass. So they're the 5th ranked class in the SEC right now. And if you're wondering, this is including Texas and Oklahoma. They're 5th. They have 1 5-star, 17 4s, and 2 3s. Hey, Crazy Duck, so who's Cameron Coleman? Max Wright at tight end. Max Wright at tight end. Yeah, they got a nice team. Shamar Stewart at DN with Shamar. They have Shamar Turner and Shamar Stewart. McKinley Jackson. Okay, Walter Nolan, another highly regarded top recruit. What was it, a couple years ago? I think it was. He's a sophomore. Yeah. Tony Grimes, another one. Sam McCall. Yep. Bravion Rogers. Dude, their secondary is almost entirely transfers. Like, you look at their secondary, they have Josh DeBerry, Javon Thomas at corner, Tony Grimes, Sam McCall, Bravion Rogers, and Dalton Brooks. All transfers. No, I'm sorry, no, that's not all transfers. Some of them are freshmen. They have like 3 transfers. Yeah. 3 transfers. Now, of course, 2 of them are seniors. Tony Grimes, I think he's from North Carolina. Yeah. He's from, but done that yet. So the pressure's on for old Texas A&M. We'll see how they do. I'm actually going to turn it to the Guardians game. I completely forgot they were on. Not like it matters. Oh, look, it's Chris Bassett. All right, so moving on to the number 22 ranked team, Ole Miss. Yep, Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss Rebels. So, of course, let's go to their schedule, staying in the SEC. In fact, all I really got to do is click on their name. And, yeah. Already talked about a couple of the teams that are on their schedule. That being Tulane and, of course, A&M. Congenital heart defect. Wow. So he had a heart defect, huh? People are, oh, it's the vaccine. It's a congenital heart defect. Ugh. That's some bad stuff. Luckily, they got that in time for Bronny. But you look at their schedule last year, and yeah, they were 8-5. They lost 4 straight to end the year, though, including their bowl game against Texas Tech. Ugh. And this is after they started off their season winning 7 in a row. They won 7 in a row beating Troy, Central Arkansas, drubbing Georgia Tech. They crushed the Yellow Jackets. They barely beat Tulsa, barely beat Kentucky, beat the crap out of Vanderbilt, beat up on Auburn, and then out of nowhere they get smacked by LSU. Worry, they bounced back and they beat Texas A&M. So yeah, then they had their bye week and they did not win another game. Lose by 6 to Alabama. They lose by what would be 2 touchdowns to Arkansas. Lose by 2 to Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. Ugh. You go to your bowl game and you lose to Texas Tech. Yeah. Lane Kiffin. Oi, 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 man. It's not too often you see a season go like that. So you look at this year's schedule for the Ole Miss Rebels. Mercer, Tulane, Georgia Tech. I could see maybe 3-0. Definitely they could easily go 3-0. Then you got Bama, LSU, Arkansas. Ugh, man. Great start. And then you have that afterwards. And then you have your bye. Man, oh man. And then after all that too, you get Auburn, Vanderbilt, A&M. Okay, so 3 winnable games. And then you get Georgia. Damn. Then Louisiana Monroe, you should beat them. And then Mississippi State, of course, in the Egg Bowl. So I think if I had to put out a rough estimate in terms of wins, I would say for Ole Miss, they could easily match last year's win total. But then again, they could easily drop a little bit. They could probably win 7 games. Depends on how they start, though. If they head into their bye with at least 4 wins, beating Mercer, Tulane, and Tech, and then one of LSU or Arkansas, I think they can definitely win like 7 games. But Alabama, I just don't, I just don't see it. Alabama ain't great, but I just don't know, man. I just do not know about Ole Miss beating them. Jose Ramirez. Bonds strikes again. I love it. So we look at Ole Miss's roster. Best part is, back-to-back SEC teams means I don't gotta change much. So Ole Miss is 12th in recruiting, according to 24/7 Sports. 0 5-stars, 5 4s, and 15 3-stars. They're just behind Arkansas, and they're a pretty good amount ahead of their in-state rival, Mississippi State. You look at their roster, and yeah, quarterback be Jackson Dart. He's been around. Spencer Sanders, Walker Howard. Literally, most of their quarterback room is transfers. Walker Howard and Spencer Sanders, both coming out from elsewhere. David Windner, what a name. Caden Priscorn is at tight end. He's another one of those transfers coming in from Memphis. At receiver, Trey Harris and Jakari Franklin also transferred in. Victor Kern, Quincy McGee transferred in. Aiden Williams. Ton of transfers. My God. Look at their defense. It's literally almost all transfers on the freshmen. That's insane. My God. Josh Harris, nose tackle, transfer. Monty Montgomery, transfer. Zamari Walton, transfer. John Saunders, transfer. My God, like half their team is transfers. That's actually insane. But hey, that's the way it is now, right? You see a lot of that. We'll see how they do. But if I had to guess, I think 7 wins is definitely possible for Ole Miss if they don't start off looking like garbage. So, with that being said, let's, of course, go through the next team on the list. Number 21, North Carolina Tar Heels. So now we do a nice little switch over to the ACC now. And we go to North Carolina. They had a promising team. They went 9-5. Started off their season really well, actually. They only lost one game until the second to last week of the year. They were a damn good team too. They beat up on Florida A&M. They barely beat App State. They escape against Georgia State. So yeah, one thing about them was their defense was not very good. Then they come out of their bye. They lose to Notre Dame. They proceed to then smack Virginia Tech. They escape against Miami, Florida. Escape against Duke. Another bye. They beat up on Pitt 42-24. They once again escape against Virginia. Barely escape against Wake Forest. Then they lose 2 straight to Georgia Tech and NC State to end their regular season. They lose to Clemson in the conference championship. And then they lose by 1 to Oregon in the Holiday Bowl. So, yeah, they either won by a lot or lost by barely any. That's tough. And you look at their recruiting class, and then you look at, what they got cooking this year as well. North Carolina's schedule, they have South Carolina and the Mayo Classic to start off. That game, of course, on 7:30 on ABC. That'll be a good one. Then you get into their conference schedule and stuff. App State, Minnesota as the non-cons to go with South Carolina. You have Pitt, then you have a bye. Then you have Syracuse, Miami, Florida, Virginia, Georgia Tech. You face Campbell. Okay. Duke, Clemson, NC State. Yeah, again, I think they could have a winning record. But just like I said before, it's all about how you get into the bye. If they can get into their bye with at least 2 or 3 wins, I think they can definitely make a run. Syracuse, they could beat them. They could beat Miami, Florida, beat Virginia. If they lose to Georgia Tech again, that'll be freaking horrible. You should beat Campbell. Duke ain't going to be no slouch. Clemson, we'll see how they do with Cade Klubnik. And then NC State lost their quarterback to transfer, so we'll see how they do. It'll be very interesting to see how NC does this year. And like I said, they have the 4th ranked recruiting class in the ACC. Just behind Miami, Clemson, and Florida State. Actually, they're pretty far behind those other 3. And then you look at their roster as I pull it up real quick here. We go to the ACC. Like I said, this was going to be a long stream, so I hope you guys are chilling. We got a half an hour, and I'm only like 3 freaking teams in. Like I said, this is a long one. I'm only on 21. We still got freaking 20 more teams to go. I'm going to try and speed this up, though. But it really helps, though, when my lovely thing comes up quickly. So you look at the Tar Heels. Quarterback, Drake May. Your main weapons, Elijah Green at running back with Omarion Hampton. Receivers, J.J. Jones, Devontae Walker, Nate McCollum. Andre Green, Gavin Blackwell, Kobe Paceauer? Yeah. Overall defense, a lot of homegrown guys, not a lot of transfers. Good stuff. So we'll see how they do. I think that's what I'm pretty much going to do. Just look at quarterback, look at key position players, quarterback, running back, skill positions, all that other wonderful stuff. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on every team. So, again, you look at their schedule, I think they can definitely be a bowl eligible team this year. If everything goes to plan. Good coaching staff. They have Drake May back. They should be fine, but we'll see. So, moving on to number 20, we got the Sooners. Soon to be heading to the SEC. Should be very interesting to see how they do this year. So again, let's go SEC now. Oklahoma. Well, I guess technically they're not SEC yet. They will be though. But for this year, they're in the Big 12. And you look at their schedule from last year. They, first year under Venables, definitely underperformed. 6-7 record. I mean, they started off 3-0, beating UTEP, Kent State, and Nebraska pretty convincingly. And then they hit a speed bump, losing to their daddies, Kansas State. They lost TCU. And then they got absolutely blasted by Texas. Yeah, not fun. Trey Lance to Dallas. Wait, what? Hold up. I got to go to the freaking group chat, guys. Trey Lance just got traded to Dallas. Dallas of all teams. I got to see what the group chat's saying about that. That is. Wow. Trey Lance to Dallas? They have Dak. Huh? And then during the day, with everything going on with my car, that things that happened during stream. So yeah, Trey Lance just got traded. Yeah, Niners are sending Dallas for a mid-round pick. Just a mid-round pick, like nothing else, not a player or anything. Interesting. Yeah, you look at Oklahoma's schedule from last year. Safe to say, yeah, they definitely underachieved. Wow, Vlad blasted it, but it didn't even leave the yard. Gotta love it, right? But yeah, they lost 3 straight, but they bounced back and escaped against Kansas, had their bye, came back against Iowa State, beat them, lost 2 straight to Baylor and West Virginia. You lost to 2022 version of West Virginia. How the hell do you lose to West Virginia? Like, I live here now. They're ass. Like, West Virginia fans want Neil Brown gone, and you lost to them? You expect us to take you seriously if you lose to freaking West Virginia? Huh? I live here now. I live in West Virginia. I know how, like, Mountaineer fans talk about their team. I hear them on sports radio. They're ass. And you lost by 3 to West Virginia. And Oklahoma, what happened? But yeah, you beat Oklahoma State. Yep. And then you lose to Texas Tech. Oh. And then you go into the Cheez-It Bowl and you lose to Florida State. Fun way to end your season. Losing 4 of 5 to end your year. Oh, that's an ugly way to end your tenure, right? And your first year, that's how you end it. Wow. Losing 4 or 5. Yeah, we'll see how Venables and company do, in year 2. I'm sure they'll be much better. It's funny because Oklahoma fans were hyping up their team like crazy, and they stunk. Yep, they stunk. So you look at everything else going on here. Let's take a look at their schedule for this year, shall we? So let's pull it up. There we go. Oklahoma 2023. Okay, Arkansas State should beat them. SMU, they ain't no pushover. Tulsa. But then you face off against the new guy, Cincinnati, at Nippert. Ooh, okay. Iowa State. Then you have the Red River rivalry. I'm sure you'll be looking for revenge. But then you face another new guy in UCF. Ooh, that'll be fun. UCF, they're different now, man. I see them getting some high level recruits lately. They're looking pretty good in the recruiting trail. Kansas, don't underestimate Kansas nowadays. OK State, the last time I think ever you'll be facing them. West Virginia, BYU, and Utah, and then you have TCU to end it. So, yeah, we'll see how they do in year two, their final season in the Big 12. And if you're curious as to what their 2024 schedule looks like, in the SEC, you see it right there. It's going to be fun. Alabama, ooh, wow. So the Cowboys are sending a fourth round pick to the Niners for Trey Lance. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, that's next year's schedule for that's 2024, as you could tell. Of course, by then I think they'll have a new quarterback and everything. Year three under Venables. But yeah, this year's team, I don't know, man. I don't know. It depends on how everyone else plays, because it ain't gonna be easy, that's for sure. They really don't have any like walkover teams. Even Arkansas State could give them a run for their money with how they've notoriously played against their non-con teams. I mean, remember a couple years ago, Tulane almost beat them, but they realistically could start maybe 4-1 in their first five, possibly 3-2. They could even go 5-0. We all know they're probably going to lose one random game in that first five out of nowhere too. Then you get Texas. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. And then you get, like UCF, Kansas, OK State, West Virginia. I think 7 wins is possible. Bowl eligibility definitely could happen. But I have no idea what to say about freaking Oklahoma, because I can't get a good vibe on them. I really can't. Now, in terms of recruiting, their final year in the Big 12. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I think they're in the SEC in recruiting, aren't they? Technically, because technically they're the roster. And as you'd expect, they have a pretty nice roster. They have one of the better teams roster wise. They should be a contender for the division, for the conference, but it's hard to really say at this point. I have no idea what to expect from Oklahoma. Like, look at their team. Quarterback, Dylan Gabriel. Running backs, you have the likes of Javante Barnes, Gavin Sawchuk. Nice. Your receiving core is not too bad either. Jaleel Farouk, Andrell Anthony, Drake Stoops, Shelton Bunkley. Okay, Brennan Thompson. Nice. Gavin Freeman. I'm sorry, Brennan Thompson. Jaquez Petaway. They have a nice team, but can they put it all together? You look at their defense. Not bad, to say the least. They have a notoriously good defense. I mean, you better have a good defense. You have a freaking defensive coach. If their defense stinks, well, damn, what does that say about freaking Venables? Right? It'd be fun to see how they do. I'm keeping my eye on them. Definitely. Especially given how we've loved to draft Oklahoma Sooners lately. Although, if you've noticed, a lot of the Sooners that we've drafted over the years are now gone. Baker's gone. Uh, Isaiah Thomas is still here, but obviously now Perrin Winfrey's gone too. Michael Woods is still here, but he's hurt. I had a lot of hope for him too. I was really looking forward to watching him play. But that's just the way it goes sometimes, right? So, looking at their recruiting, of course, they are eighth, 21 commits, one measly 5-star for 2024. And if you're wondering who that 5-star is, well, just gonna wait for it to say something here. Taylor Tatum. Wait, it said 5-star. He's a 4. Okay, 24/7. Love it, right? So, uh, we'll see how they do. going to be a tough schedule. No pushovers at all. All right, moving on. I'm going to try and speed this up, guys. I've been doing this for almost an hour, and I've just got through, like, what, 4 teams, seemingly? So we're going to move to number 19, the Wisconsin Badgers. Yay. One of the first teams to actually I'm going to be talking about that has a new coach. I'm really intrigued by how Fickle is going to be over there in Wisconsin in the Big Ten West. I think they're going to be a team that to watch out for, not going to lie. So you look at last year, yeah, they definitely underachieved big time. I mean, everyone thought they were going to be back in the Big Ten title game, and they stunk. They were 7-6. They started off really well. They beat Illinois State, which, I mean, come on. But then you lose to Wazoo? Wow. And you follow that up with an absolute massacre of New Mexico State, which, again, you should do, right? Then you follow that up with 2 bad losses to Ohio State on the road, and then you lose to Illinois at home, 34-10. Oh, wow. Springer hit another homer off a Bybee, of course. It's always got to be freaking Springer. 35-24 loss to Purdue. I mean, you beat Purdue after losing the Sparty. You crushed on Northwestern. You had your bye. And then you did the little win, lose thing. You beat Maryland, lose to Iowa. You beat Nebraska, but lose to Minnesota. You made a bowl game, and you won your bowl game, beating Oklahoma State. So good job by Wisconsin there. Look at this year's team, this year's schedule for Wisconsin. New coach, of course. Buffalo, Wazoo, this time on the road. Georgia Southern, Purdue. Of course, you got to face Ohio State again. You face Nebraska. That'll be a fun game. 2 teams with new coaches. I'm intrigued. I am very, very intrigued. I think they could definitely be a bowl eligible. In terms of win total, I'm going to say maybe 8, maybe 9. 9 wins is definitely possible if everything goes well. Now, let's take a quick peek at their team, quarterback-wise, and some... Given what I'm doing, I mean, you'd expect me to take a little while, right? Not just going to fly through this. I like to get into detail. So we look at Wisconsin overall, recruiting-wise. They're 7th in the Big Ten. No 5-stars, 7 4s, and 14 3s with 21 commits. They are just behind Nebraska, and I think they could pass Nebraska. But then you get to the newbies in USC and Oregon, and it's going to take a bit to catch them. I'm actually shocked USC has 0 5-stars, according to 24/7 Sports. That's actually crazy. Now, you look at their team. Tanner Mordecai at quarterback. Interesting. Keelan Allen, one of the best running backs in the nation. Okay. You have DK, CJ Williams, Will Pauling at receiver, Bryson Green, Keontae Lewis. Decent receiving core. If I had to say, yeah, decent receiving core. Yep. Nothing to laugh at. Definitely. Yep. Nothing to laugh at all. I think overall, I think they're going to be a solid team. They're probably going to be in the running for the Big Ten West. All right, so moving on, we go to number 18, and that is one of the last remaining teams in the pack, whatever you want to call it now, in the pack, the Oregon State Beavers. And of course, we're going to start off with their schedule. Let's go to the Pac-12 here. Okay, Oregon State. The Pac-12, or Pac whatever now, as every day it seems like they're losing a team. But yeah, you look at last year's schedule for the Beavers. They went 10-3, and they got a new quarterback this year, of course, too. They started off really well, went 3-0, beat the teams they were supposed to beat in the non-con. You lose 2 straight to USC and Utah to start off your conference schedule, but then you went on a nice little run. You beat Stanford by 1, you beat Wazoo, of course, you beat Colorado 42-9, no problem. You have your bye, you come off, you lose the Apple. No, I'm sorry, not the Apple. You lose to Washington. I got confused there. I was like, wait, who? You lose to Washington. Wow, by 3. But then you rattled off 3 straight wins in conference, beating Cal, Arizona State, and Oregon. And then Oregon game, you were losing. And you came back and beat them. Very impressive by the Beavers. And then you go to the bowl game and you take it to the Gators. Wow, 30-3. That was impressive. Very impressive stuff. That's what you call, building off the momentum that you just got from coming back and beating your rival. And you look at their roster, of course, and yeah. Let's take a look at the schedule for this year. So, of course, looking at Oregon State's schedule, it's pretty good, to say the least. Wow. You look at their schedule, San Jose State should win. UC Davis should win. San Diego State should win. Wazoo should beat them. Utah, by that time, I'm sure quarterback will be back. And knowing Utah, how good they are, you're probably going to get your ass kicked. Let's be real. Cal, win. UCLA, that'll be tough. I could see you losing that game. Then you have your bye, and then you should just rattle off like 3 or 4 wins in your final games. Beat Arizona. You probably could beat Colorado. Stanford stinks. Beat them. Washington's going to be tough. And then Oregon, I know they're going to want revenge. So 3 wins is definitely possible in the final stretch of games. Beating Arizona, Colorado, and Stanford. But then you lose to Washington and Oregon. You could easily win one of those games, too. So, yeah, I mean, considering the roster that they have, too, yeah, they could definitely, string together some good wins this year. And you look at their recruiting, of course, like I've said, the pack whatever is dwindling now. And I think Oregon State's going to be a nice team this year, especially with DJ Uiagalelei, who, by the way, got drafted in the major leagues. Yeah, so if it doesn't pan out in football, he could go to baseball. I think he's a Dodger, right? Something like that, yeah. But I'm sure he'll be just fine in football. But you look at their team, of course, DJ, quarterback, Damian Martinez at running back. Okay, cool. Receivers, nobody that really jumps off the page. Defense is probably going to be nice. Yeah, not much to say there. It's kind of funny because I look at the recruiting page and there's only 4 teams. And my God, do I even want to show this? You want to know what's sad about the whole situation with the Pac-12 or the Pac-4 now? That's the recruiting page. 4 teams. Look, check this out, right? Look at the distance between first and second. Stanford is over almost a full 100 points better than Oregon State in recruiting. What a sad state of affairs for the Pac-12 or the Pac-4 now. The Pac whatever. And word on the street is Stanford could be jumping to the ACC, right? Imagine playing in the ACC, but you're on the Pacific Coast. I mean, they technically could change the name to the American Coast Conference or something like that. The Pac Atlantic Coast Conference, the PAC, the PAC, the PAC, PACC, the Pacific American Coast Conference, Pacific Atlantic, the Trans Coast Conference, the Multi Coast Conference, the Coast Conference, the Coastal Conference, the CC. Oh man, that's funny. Dude, Bassett is whooping our ass. Oh, that's tough. But yeah, that's a sad state of affairs. Oh man, but Oregon State, they should be fine. They're going to be fine. We'll see what they do conference wise. Now we go to the next team. And of course, it's the TCU Horned Frogs. And yeah, I think from now on, I'm just really going to look at their schedule and stuff. I am taking forever to get through this. This is a lot of stuff to get through. I'm mainly not. I'm not just yeah. I mean TCU, Big 12. Yeah, this team is really fun to watch. Of course, they beat the crap out of the team up north last year. That was fun. But then they got handled by freaking Georgia. They didn't even look like they belonged in the same field last year in the national title game. But you look at their football schedule, and while that's cooking up, let's get the that Bo hit a bomb in Canada. Wow, Bo hit a bomb in Canada. That's freaking awesome. And I'm sure his family or someone his family's there. Bo hit a bomb in Canada. That's what you love to see. It's funny. I said, "Oh yeah, Bassett's whooping our ass." Bo's like, "Haha, that's cute. That's cute." But you look at TCU's schedule last year, and like I said, they were a damn good team, 13-2, and they didn't lose their first game until the Big 12 championship. Yeah, again because they went undefeated, smacked Colorado, destroyed something called Tarleton State. Huh? They had a week 3 bye. Sheesh. They beat SMU, crushed Oklahoma, beat Kansas, escaped against OK State, beat K State, Kansas State. That was a fun game. They beat West Virginia by 10. They beat Texas Tech and Texas. They had one of the most intense games against Baylor, a game where they had to perfectly execute, I guess, what you'd call like a Chinese fire drill or something, where the offense had to run off the field like their head was on fire. Meanwhile, the special teams had to run onto their field in a complete, like, yeah, Chinese fire drill kind of thing. Like, that was perfectly executed. No timeouts, no stoppage of play, clock ticking. They managed to get the kickoff and they beat Baylor with no time left on the clock. Then they proceed to tear Iowa State apart, only to then lose to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship by 3 points. Then you respond by beating up on the team up north, and then you get smacked around by Georgia. Yeah. Crazy dog. Do you think Ohio State would have done the same to TCU if they had met? I think so. I mean, look at what we did to Georgia. Do you think TCU would have been able to hang around with us? It's hard to say. It really is. By the way, I gotta tweet something out, guys. Hang on. I almost forgot. Ha 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 ha. But how about freaking Trey Lance getting traded to Dallas? Out of nowhere. I was thinking like Minnesota or someone that needed a QB. No, he'll go to freaking of all places. He'll end up at freaking Dallas. All right. That's funny. I said, "Oh yeah, Bastards whooping our ass," and then Bo Naylor hits a bomb on him. That's just classic me, right? Oh yeah, he's kicking our ass. Oh look, it's pop up Barry Bonds. Pop up Bonds. King pop up. But yeah, let's take a look now at TCU's schedule for this year because last year they were a fabulous team. I don't know if they'll be just fine. Quarterback Chandler Morris. That's right, Duggan left. That's right. Duh. Chandler Morris at quarterback. Imani Bailey. Oh, Guerrero, you freaking scrub. Run, Kwani, run! Oh, no. Oh, he slipped in there. Nice job, Quan. Savion Williams, Warren Thompson, J.P. Richardson at running at receiver. Nobody that really jumps off again. It's a solid group. Yeah, it's a solid group. Sonny Dykes is a damn good coach, too. They'll be fine. Again, they'll be just fine. Be just fine, especially with their recruiting. Yep, they'll be good. Everything gonna be all right. But let's take a look at their schedule this year, all right? So, pull it up real quick. All right. So, as you can see, by the way, I'm going to actually do this again here, guys. So, Colorado, first game of the Deion Sanders era. That'll be fun. At home, too. Nichols State or whatever. Houston. That'll be interesting. SMU, West Virginia, Iowa State, BYU, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma. Very, very tough schedule. We'll see how they do. Did he actually get in there in time? I think he slipped in there. Did he overslide? He might have overslid he might have overslid the bag. Oh, Steven. He probably overslid the bag. Unless he got a fingernail on it. I don't know. Freaking Quan oversliding the bag. But yeah, solid schedule. I think they could definitely be built eligible. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. That might have been like a Cinderella run, or as we call it, a Linsanity run. I don't think they're going to be like last year. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, of course. Because he overslid the bag. Freaking Quan. Only the Guardians would do that. Dude overslides the bag trying to avoid the tag. But at least we tied. Can't be too mad. This team's base running. They go from good base running to looking like stupid idiots. But yeah, I think TC will be just fine. I'm going over an hour and I'm not even halfway through this. I gotta speed this up, guys. I'm gonna speed this up. Alright, I blabber way too much. And I get distracted too, of course. You know, Guardians going on, whatever. So, let's move on to the next team on the list. As soon as I pull it up, we got, oh, future Big Ten team, Oregon Ducks. This should be good. So let's go to Oregon. Alrighty, let's pull up their lovely schedule. Of course, they are featured in the Big Ten thing now, right? No, that's for recruiting. For this year, Pac-12. Okay, let's do that. 10 recruiting wise, they are actually like literally right next door, and they have always been a really, really good program. You know, Chip Kelly used to coach there. They were damn good with him. They've had some really good coaches. I think they have what, Lanning or something there now. Yeah, they're gonna be again another very solid team. I mean, the interesting thing is, since they're in the Big Ten, that means they might be playing in the Rose Bowl against another Pac-12 team. That'd be weird. Them in the Rose Bowl if they make it there as a Big Ten team. The Pac even survives. The Pac might not even last long after what, next year? Sheesh. Especially if Stanford leaves, which is what I'm hearing could happen. We look at Oregon recruiting wise. They're fourth in the conference of the Big Ten because, of course, they're recruiting for next year, which they will be a Big Ten team next year. Not this upcoming, obviously, but next season. They're actually pretty far ahead of USC, surprisingly, according to 24/7 Sports. And they're actually pretty close behind Penn State. You look at their schedule from last year and everything here. Pull up 2022. And come on, anytime now. There we go. Yeah, it did not start off good. They got smacked on the mouth by Georgia. Then they responded by winning 8 straight games before they eventually lost to Washington. And that came the third to last game of the season. Yeah. Then they beat Utah. And then they lose to Oregon State, of course, because they choked. But hey, they came back and, like I said earlier, they beat North Carolina in the Holiday Bowl. So good rebound. They finished 10-3 last year. Overall, very good year for them. And you look at what their schedule looks like in their final season as a Pac-12 team. Yeah, they could be as good, if not better, record-wise. I mean, this is their freaking schedule here, and overall, they got to finish Georgia. Toughest team they got to play, I think, is USC, maybe Utah. Everyone else is fair game. Portland State win. Texas Tech, I'd lose to them, but I think they beat Texas Tech. Let's be real. Hawaii win. Colorado win. Stanford win. Bye week. Washington's gonna be tough. Wazoo should beat them. Utah, that'll be tough. Cam Rising will probably be back, and he'll be in full swing. Cal win. USC, I want to see Oregon win that game. Arizona State, it'd be interesting to see how Rashada does. Sounds like he'll be the quarterback for the Sun Devils this year. And then Oregon State. So I think 9 wins is definitely possible. Maybe more. We'll see. It'll be very, very fun to see how Oregon does in their final season in the Pac 12. See how they go out. Do they go out with a nice little championship ring? Or are they going to go out like frauds? We'll see. But I think they are going to be a very good team this year. You look at their team overall, and yeah, you can see that. Bo Nix is back at quarterback. Bucky Irving, Noah Whittington, Jordan James at running back. Solid group there. You have Ajani Cornelius, who I wanted in the transfer portal. He's at right tackle. You have Trayshawn Holden. I believe he's from. Yeah, he's from Bama. I'm pretty sure. At receiver, Troy Franklin. Yep, he's from Bama. He's really good. Josh Connolly at left tackle. So Bo Nix will be well protected from what it looks like. Oh my God, baby, that was lit. Good stuff. Yeah, Tez Johnson, Troy Franklin, Kyler Casper, Chris Hudson, Gary Bryant Jr. transfer receiver, Kozar, Dickey. Yeah, they have a nice squad on offense. Defensive wise, we'll see how they do. Not a lot of names that jump off the page, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Yeah, they'll be just fine. I'm sure. I say that a lot. You couldn't hear that a lot because, yeah, that's right. They have Matayo Uyangalele, the brother. Oh, that's gonna be weird. Their brothers play each other last game of the year. Oh, no, yeah, because DJ is in Oregon State now. Oh my God, brother. Literally. That's going to be something. The brothers face each other. Just imagine, though, to end the year, Mateo gets a sack on DJ to end the season. That would be poetic. very poetic end to the season and to Oregon's tenure in the Pac-12. Oh man. But yeah, I think Oregon will be a very good team. They're probably going to be competing for the Pac-12 title. Heck, they could even leave the Pac-12 with a championship on some CM Punk kind of thing, you know? I mean, you leave with a championship. Why not? You know? Yeah, that'd be fun, I'm sure. But let's move on now to the next team, and we will go to Utah. So we're staying in the Pac. The defending Pac champs. This will be interesting because again, Cam Rising's injured. Is he going to be fully healthy for the game against Florida? Florida fans running their mouth. I see on YouTube. There are some Florida fans on YouTube. I watch a couple of their pages, you know, because why not? I like watching other teams. I like hearing what they have to say about college football. You know, I like to get college football from other vantage points. And yeah, their fans are running their mouth about the whole thing with Utah and their quarterback, Cam Rising. Last year, they took it to USC. I really enjoyed that too. But you look at last year's schedule for Utah. Of course, they lost to Florida, and then as soon as it comes up here, Anthony Richardson really beat them. And then after that, they won 4 straight games. They beat Southern Utah, San Diego State, Arizona State, and Oregon State. Yeah, you should be able to do that. But then you go and you split with USC and UCLA. You lose to UCLA, you beat USC, then you have your bye. You rattle off 3 straight wins, beating Wazoo, Arizona, and Stanford. You barely lose to Oregon. Then you come back and you absolutely just pummel Colorado. And then you go in the Pac 12 title game and you beat USC again. And then in the Rose Bowl, Cam Rising goes down or whatever, and you lose to Penn State. Now, as far as your roster goes, we'll see how they do. But schedule wise, again, you face Florida at home. Then you have Baylor and Weber State. I think it's realistic they could possibly go 2-1 there. Depends on how Cam Rising looks. Then you have UCLA, Oregon State, your bye, Cal, USC, Oregon, Arizona State. Yeah. Like overall, they're looking pretty good. They're gonna be a good team. Coach Whittington or whatever, he'll have that team looking good. Here's their schedule. Yeah, they'll be fine. Cam Rising will come back. It might take him a couple weeks to really get in the swing of things, but yeah, as long as he's going good by the bye, I think they'll be just fine. I have no reason to be concerned with Utah. Now we look at their recruiting in the Pac-12. As you'd imagine, they're probably. Well, that's right. They're not going to be in the Pac-12 next year. Where are you going? Big 12? Well, that's right. They're going to be Big 12. It's going to be even weirder. 2024, they're going to be in the Big 12. Currently, they're 12th in the Big 12, just barely ahead of Colorado. Wow. 9 commits for 2024, according to 247 right now. And you look at their recruiting and everything here. I mean, obviously, Cam Rising's at quarterback. And we look at what else they have there. I mean, yeah, they don't really have, again, they don't have much besides Cam Rising in terms of skill players. Micah Bernard's still there. Jaquindon Jackson's there. I mean, nobody really that jumps off the page again. Mikey Matthews, freshman receiver. He's the only other guy really that jumps off, but it's gonna be a good team. Yeah, they're gonna be high. We know coach is gonna have them looking good. They're probably gonna threaten for the Pac-12 again. they haven't really had that kind of team that's like a national powerhouse recruiting wise, roster wise, but coaching makes the team. And I think they'll be good as long as Cam Rising, you know, actually plays. We'll see how he does, though. All right, so moving on to the next team, and we're finally getting halfway. 13, we have Notre Dame. This is obviously taking forever, but we're at 13. We have Notre Dame coming up now. And you look at the Irish, of course, they're not in the conference. So, I mean, do I even really need to look at recruiting? I mean, they're done really good in recruiting. Marcus Freeman's over there now. You look at their schedule last year. Oh god, dude. Their schedule, they fumbled so hard in their schedule last year because they lost to teams that should have beaten. That was a big thing with that team last year at Notre Dame. They lost to Marshall. They lost to Marshall last year. That should tell you all you need to know. Yep. Any Irish fans watching their games last year? That was just the vibe of their season. You lose to Marshall, then you rattle off 3 wins against Cal, North Carolina, and BYU. You lose to Stanford. And then you go around and you beat UNLV, Syracuse, Clemson, Navy, and Boston College. And then you lose to USC. And then you beat South Carolina in the Gator Bowl. Yeah, their season was weird. Their season was really. They're obviously going to be like top tier because nobody else even touches them, really. Because I think, yeah, the other independents are what, mainly military academies, right? Really? I mean, for the most part, it's mainly military academies. I mean, Army, Connecticut, and Mass. So it's one military academy, Connecticut, and UMass. So obviously they're gonna like be way above everybody else in terms of independence. Oh yeah, San Diego State's gonna be independent too. Penn? Well, they're going to be. I thought they were in the Mount. I guess they're leaving the Mountain West, but still, Notre Dame far and away the superior recruiting class. 14 4 stars, 8 3 stars. They have a 158-point lead on San Diego State. Yeah. So that's all you need to know about that. Now you look at their schedule for this year. And of course, they have Ohio State again, but they face Navy tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon in London, Ireland. And you get Tennessee State, NC State. Yeah. I mean, look at their schedule. I mean, it's a bad schedule. I mean, it's ACC oriented, of course, with some Pac 12 flair. Of course. Navy, it'll be tough, but I'm sure they'll beat Navy. It'll be close, I'm sure. Tennessee State should be comfortable win. NC State, I'm sure Notre Dame will find a way to make that game close when it should be a low key blowout, kind of, because NC State just isn't that great with their quarterback left. Central Michigan should crush them. Ohio State, Duke, don't sleep on Duke this year. Louisville, USC. Do not sleep on Duke, Louisville, well, obviously USC, but like Duke and Louisville. Two teams you should not sleep on. They both could be rather decent this year. Then you have Pitt coming off the bye. Then you have Clemson. Then you have another bye, followed by Wake Forest and Stanford. So if I had to guess, Notre Dame is probably going to find a way to win 8, 9 games. Maybe 10. I think they could win 10 games. Yeah. I think their losses come to Ohio State and one of either USC or probably Clemson. Yeah, most likely. I can easily see them losing to Duke too. Or I mean, even Louisville. You never know. You really never know. That's how weird that team can be this, lately. That's how weird they can be. Roster wise, of course, Sam Hartman's their quarterback now. Other than that, I mean, Tobias Merriweather, Jaden Thomas, and Chris Tyree at receiver. Decent receiving core. Rico Flores, the freshman's over there now. Audric Estime at running back with Jabrian Payne. They're probably going to be relying heavily on their running backs. Oh, Lorian hit a homer. Wow, 2-1 blast for Laser Ramon. Laser Ramon, dude, bomb. Love to see it. So you look at the defense and you notice one name stands out. Former Buckeye Javante Jean Baptiste. We'll see how he does there. Other than that, not a lot of names jump off the board. Not a lot of names at all. But we'll see how they do. That's going to be an interesting group. Very interesting group to watch. Yeah, I'm keep my eye on them. Because of course we play them this year. I want to see how they do. I kind of want them to be good and when heading into our game, and then we smack them in the mouth and send them in a tailspin. I would love that big time. So, yeah, not really much to say about Notre Dame. I mean, again, gonna be good. They're gonna find a way to be good. But yeah, they're gonna be right around where you think they're gonna be. Probably like 9, 10 wins. Moving on, we get into number 12. We have the Tennessee Volunteers. And of course, this is a team that has a lot of hype behind them. And it's expected. That team had some very good games last year. They did pretty good. Tennessee was very good last year. In fact, they did not lose a game until Georgia. I mean, you look at their opponents. I mean, Ball State, Pitt, Akron, Florida, LSU. They beat them pretty bad. They even beat Alabama by 3. Their fans rushed the field, took one of the goalposts, and put it in the river. Then they beat Tennessee Martin, which, come on. Then they smacked Kentucky. Ugh. Then they lose to Georgia. They beat the tar out of Missouri. Then they get the tar beat out of them by South Carolina. And then they flip that and beat the tar out of Vanderbilt. And then they beat Clemson in the aptly named Orange Bowl. There's a lot of orange in that stadium. There's a lot of orange. They had orange overload in the Orange Bowl. A lot of orange. I love orange. 2 shades. Yep. If you hate the color orange, you probably despised looking at that stadium because there was a ton of orange. Yep. But that was a good game, and Tennessee won, beat Clemson. Very impressive stuff. So again, you look at their roster. Joe Milton will be the quarterback. Nico, as we call him, as the haters call him, Nico Amalivia. I am a lava. Yeah, I am Alivia. He's number 2, and then Gaston Moore is number 3. Brew McClory at receiver with Ramel Keaton and Squirrel Wright. Dante Thornton, Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod. You have a dude named Nimrod. It's great. Nimrod's another way to say idiot. Oh my god, brother. Oh, I got a tweet again. Hang on, guys. Got a tweet. Got a blast. Oh man. Alrighty. But good stuff from hang on, I'm just like my attention is like partially on the Guardians, and then I'm trying to focus on doing this too. Oh boy, at least we're giving Bybee some run support. That's lovely. There we go. I like that. But you look at the situation that Tennessee is in. This is probably going to be some of the best ball that their fans are going to see. Good squad around all over the place. I like Joe Milton. Good future at quarterback. Just all about can they put it together. I think they can, but we'll see how they do. But yeah, schedule wise for this year, see what they got. Of course, I'll pull it up right now. We got Virginia, Austin P, and Florida to start off with Texas, San Antonio, and then South Carolina. Then you have your bye. Then you're back in the conference play. A&M, Alabama, Kentucky, UConn, Mizzou, Georgia, and Vandy. I could definitely see Tennessee winning no less than 8 games. Yeah, I think they're going to be a very good team as long as Milton looks good and everyone stays healthy. Yep, I think they'll be a good team as long as things go right. You know, they don't completely fall off the face of the earth, which could happen knowing Tennessee. So I expect them to probably get like maybe 9 wins. Now that I say that, watch them barely reach 6 wins because that's what I'm a curse. Yeah. So we'll see how they do. Mm-hmm. Now Jordan Ross and Mike Matthews are both 5 stars, so they have 2 5 stars in their current 2024 class, and they actually just got Jordan Ross too a couple days ago. So yeah, like I said, they'll be fine. They'll be a good team for years, as long as they stay healthy and everything goes well. We're gonna, coach wise, coach doesn't turn into a dunce. Knowing Tennessee, they'll probably struggle this year. Yep, they'll be a victim of the hype. It'll be tragic too, because I actually have a Tennessee subscriber. Shout out to Big Vol Daddy. Good stuff over there. Yeah, I think Tennessee will be fine. Not just saying that because I'm sure BVD might be checking it out, but yeah, I think they'll be fine. Yeah, I like Nico. Nico is going to be really good when he eventually gets his chance. All right, moving on. We are finally getting close to the top 10 as we're number 11. Another team heading to the SEC, the Texas Longhorns. We all remember what happened a couple years ago with the we're back. No, you're not. Well, we look at their team last year, and of course, was it Quinn Ewers? He was the guy, and they got Arch Manning coming in really soon. You look at where they are in the SEC. Right now, they're ninth heading into the class of 2024. 1 5 star, 9 4s, and 6 3s. And the 1 5 is Colin Simmons, one of the top commits in the nation, and especially at defensive end. He's like a linebacker. I thought he was a DN. But okay. You look at their schedule, and like I said, they're heading to the SEC, so it's only going to get tougher. But I'm sure they welcome that. In their final year in the Big 12, see how they stack up with their schedule. But you look at last year, Texas was a solid team. They were 8-5, so they did better. Of course, and it goes into the far corner. Look at Vlad. Got him. Let's go. Throw from left field. Freaking Vlad. Scrub. Shouldn't have ran on my guy Quan, bro. You tested him. What do you think you're doing, boy? But yeah, last year they had ULM. They destroyed them, which you should. Then they lose a heartbreaker to Bama by 1 point. You follow that up with beating up on UTSA. You lose to Texas Tech. You win 3 straight, including a 49-0 beatdown of your rival Oklahoma. Then you lose to OK State. You have a bye. You come back. You beat Kansas State. You lose to TCU. Then you win 2 straight against Kansas and Baylor. And then you end the season with a loss in the Alamo Bowl to Washington by 7 points. So Yeah, I mean it's a good season, but you definitely want to be better. You want to show the SEC that you mean business. And you look at their schedule this year, they could definitely have a big year this year if everyone stays healthy, of course. Health is always a big factor. You have Rice, Bama, Wyoming out of conference. I think 2-1 is a possibility. 3-0 could happen. Never know with how Bama has been lately, but we'll see how Bama plays this year. I'll be talking about them in a minute. Baylor, Kansas. You have Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. Then you have your bye week. Then you face a couple of the new guys, Houston and BYU. Then you face Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. Yeah, if everything goes well, they're probably winning 10 games. But knowing Texas, they're going to win 7 because, of course, they would. They're going to underperform. Yep, because that's how they do it, right? That's how they do. They underperform when we expect them to be good. All right, moving on. We look at their roster, and overall, solid squad. As soon as I find it here, but from what I've heard from the people on Twitter, they have a solid team. Where the heck is the Big 12 at? Yo, Big 12 just disappeared? This is right here. So we look at the Texas depth chart, and like I said, they're recruiting. They have a solid recruiting class, but you look at their roster, it's very good. A lot of names jump off the page. Of course, Quinn Ewers. You have Jonathan Brooks at running back with Jaden Blue. Again, CJ Baxter's there. Of course, Bijan Robinson graduated. He is now a member of the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL. Receivers are looking nice, though. Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, Jonte Cook, Jordan Whittington. Nice looking receiving core. Isaiah Neyor. Yeah, they have a nice freaking receiving core. Offensive line looks nice too. That's one thing I don't really talk about. Offensive line. They have a nice offensive line. Defense. I mean, unlike the offense, not too many names jump off the books, jump off the page. Malik Muhammad, former Ohio State commit Ryan Watts, Jade Barron, Austin Jordan. Yeah, a lot of names really jump off the page on defense, but offense looks nice. Barrett Murphy the second, Tavondre Sweat. Yeah, they have a nice looking squad. I like their offense. Their offense can put up some numbers, especially with Quinn Ewers at quarterback. You have Arch Manning, Malik Murphy as well. Yeah, put up some numbers. They'll be a damn good team. I think they'll be fighting for a division championship or a conference championship definitely. If as long as everything goes right. But yeah, I think they'll be a good team. Oh yeah. Now let's get into. Nice job, Bo. You got to walk. Nice. Now let's get into the top 10. It took me almost an hour and a half to get into the top 10. We're going to start off with Washington. The Washington Huskies. Okay, so let's go to. I believe they're still going to be in the Pac 12, right? On here. Yep, there they are. Of course, for recruiting, this is where things get interesting because I believe they are going to be in the Big Ten in recruiting. Yeah, they're going to be in the Big Ten in recruiting. So that's going to be weird seeing the Washington Huskies in the Big Ten. Man, that's going to be nice. There's going to be some good ass battles in the Big Ten, especially recruiting. Wazoo in the Apple Cup, and then you beat Texas in the. You looked good last year. Now you look at their schedule this year, and overall nice schedule. Boise State at home, Tulsa, Sparty, of course, Cal, Arizona. Good start, right? You should be able to at least go 4-1, 3-2, heading into your bye. Coming out of the bye, you face Oregon, Arizona State, Stanford, USC, Utah. Ouch. Oregon State and Wazoo. Yeah, I think definitely 8 wins plus is possible. Definitely. You hear me say that a lot because these are all really good teams. They wouldn't be in the top 25 if they stunk, right? As long as they don't have a gnarly ass schedule, which I like the schedule. Very, very balanced. You have some teams that you could beat, some tough teams as well. Not too many cupcake games, but the ending with USC, Utah, and Oregon State, that's going to be nice. Did they? Oh, they intentionally walked Ramirez. Oh, that's tough. They intentionally walked Chafin. That's crazy. But yeah, I like their schedule, man. It's a nice looking schedule. Good mix of tough games and easy wins. But again, like I said, that ending stretch, USC, Utah, and Oregon State, that'll be a good test. You look at their roster. Of course, Michael Penix is there still. Nobody else really jumps off the page. I mean, Romeo O'Duns is one of the top receivers, I guess. Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk. I think Denzel Boston. They have some nice names, but I think O'Duns is probably one of the bigger names on their offense. And then you look at their defense. I mean, not many names really just, jump out and say, hey, this guy's an elite player. We'll see what names pop out as the season goes. There's going to be names that are going to, come out and you're going to hear about them for, draft purposes. But right now, I think the biggest name on their team is probably O'Duns next to Paul Penix. Yeah. O'Duns and Penix are going to be a nice duo. Mm-hmm. Uh, you look at recruiting, of course, like I said, they're bottom tier. But again, it's only, what, friggin' August? We'll see what they do heading into National Signing Day. I'm sure they'll get more commits and stuff the later we get in there. Moving on now, let's get inside the top 10 and the top 25 with the Clemson Tigers. Dabo Swinney. And it's weird because I haven't heard a lot about them. It's been quiet for Clemson. Very quiet, actually. I haven't heard much at all about Clemson. Their quarterback, we know it's Cade Klubnik. We'll see how he does. They've had a nice run. And Bryant Wisco are the two top recruits, according to 247 in their team. And they actually committed one day after one another. Bryant committed on the 6th of June. Sammy committed on the 5th of June. So, nice, right? Schedule-wise, you look, last year, they were 11-3. Very good year. Georgia Tech, Furman. In fact, they didn't lose a game until Notre Dame. Yeah, they were breezing through everybody, and then they lose to Notre Dame. They beat Louisville, Florida. Then they lose to South Carolina by 1. Then they come out and beat North Carolina in the ACC title game, and then lose to Tennessee, like I've talked about before. Now we look at this year's team. We look at this year's schedule. They have Duke to start. Don't sleep on Duke, like I said before. Charleston Southern, Florida Atlantic. 2-1, 3-0 in your first 3 games. Florida State, very tough. I expect Florida State to be in the running for the ACC championship this year. Syracuse, don't sleep on them. Wake Forest, no, they lost their quarterback. I don't think they're going to be that good, but they're probably going to be decent. Then you have your bye. Then you have the U, NC State, Notre Dame. I think they probably go 2-1 in those games. Georgia Tech, I think they beat them. North Carolina, probably the same thing. South Carolina's going to be tough. I think maybe 4 losses, 3, 4 losses. Florida State, they're going to lose probably to Notre Dame and or Miami, Florida. I'll say Notre Dame and, Notre Dame, Florida State, and South Carolina. Yep. Maybe even North Carolina. But I think they lose to the South Carolina Gamecocks. So 3 losses for Clemson. Yeah. Overall, you look at their team. Cade Klubnik, of course, is the man. You see the roster there. Cade Klubnik at quarterback, Will Shipley running back. Receivers are nice. Antonio Williams, Bo Collins, Colt Turner. Yeah, Troy Stellato, Brandon Spector. Good receiving core. Overall, good team. Good team. I'm sure they'll be in the ACC championship again because that's where they love to be. They've practically lived there for the past couple years. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at linebacker, probably one of the bigger names on their defense. It'll be fun to hear about him again. Of course, he's a junior. But yeah, overall, very good team. And they're going to be up there with Florida State and North Carolina for the ACC. So now, with that being said, let's move on to the number 8 team in the top 25. Speaking of Florida State, we got the Seminoles. The team that I think could very well take the conference this year because they're a very good team. They looked impressive last year at times. I think they're finally getting their mojo back. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with. Sports experiment. Ooh. Expected to play in the team's preseason finale tomorrow. Wow. So no more Anthony Schwartz. Sounds like he's going to be gone. That's tough. And of course, it's injury that takes him out. That's tough, man. But he didn't do much here. He didn't do much. He's all speed, no hands. That was the running joke with me. But you look at their recruiting class. Very good recruiting class. KJ Bolden, a guy that wait, they have him as a receiver. The heck is up with 247 lately? They're Landon Thomas, Luke, Cromanhook, Charles Lester. Yeah. Very, very good recruiting class for Florida State. You look at their roster, and I think it's a very solid roster. Jordan Travis, I believe, is still there at quarterback. We'll see how they do overall. But as soon as it comes up, but while it's coming up, let's take a look at their schedule. Talk about last year real quick. Last year for the Seminoles, they started off really good, 4-0. Then they lost 3 straight to Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson. Then they rattled off, 5, 6 straight wins, beating Georgia Tech, Miami, Florida, Syracuse, Louisiana, and then Florida, and then Oklahoma. So they had that little like road, speed bump. And then they got their act together, and then they ended up looking really good. 3 losses. We'll see how they do this year. And those 3 losses weren't really blowouts. They lost by 10 to Wake Forest, by 2 to NC State, and by 6 to Clemson. All 3 of those games were very winnable. And then you look, this is going to be trouble. And it got down. 2 guys running after it. And then what the heck was that throw, Gabe? Damn. Leadoff double, of course. Jordan Travis at quarterback, Jaheim Bell at tight end, Trey Benson, Rodney Hill at running back, Ronnie Wilson, Keon Coleman, Winston Wright. Overall, looks like a very solid receiving, offense, receiving core, and everything. Like their quarterback, though. Freaking love their quarterback, Jordan Travis. Defense, as usual, not a lot of names that really just jump off the page. But I'm sure as we get closer to draft season, as the season goes on, we're going to be hearing about some of these guys. But overall, solid group of guys there, and I expect them to be in the hunt for the ACC this year. Without a doubt. Look at their schedule for this year. Okay, let's take a look at the Florida State schedule here. Got it pulled up. Schedule. As you see, LSU again. See how they do after last year's classic game in Orlando, Florida this year. Southern Miss, Boston College, Clemson. Yeah, I mean, overall, North Alabama. Sure, what? Yeah, they're going to be really good. Probably same record as last year. Yep, definitely. Maybe even better. Who knows? But yeah, I think they'll be as good, if not better, than last year. Without a doubt. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, moving on to number 7. All right, let's get to number 7 here. Okay. So, number 7, we got Penn State, the Rose Bowl champs. Team that went out and smashed on freaking Utah. So now let's go to Big Ten. Penn State. Of course, they're going to have another really good team. Drew Aller or LR from around my area, actually. Oh, yeah. Yep, the receiving core is nice. Defense, I mean, it's going to be good. Their defenses to us and the team up north. Like, they're going to be up there with us and them, whether you like it or not. Especially with a quarterback like Aller, who's been really good. I saw him play in high school. He's damn good. He's got a bazooka arm. Now we look at their schedule for this year, and pull it up real quick. West Virginia, Delaware, Illinois, Iowa, Northwestern. Yeah, they're probably going to go 5-0 to start. Then they have UMass. Then they have us, Indiana, Maryland, team up north, Rutgers, and Sparty. They lose no less than 2 games, maybe 3 at most. They're going to be right back where they were last year. Yep. They probably lose 2 games, maybe, to us and probably team up north again. Because nobody else has shown that they can beat them. Maybe Illinois takes them. I don't know. I don't know how Illinois is going to be this year. They were good last year. Is that a flash in the pan, or are they for real? Who knows? But yeah, I think they lose again to us and the team up north. Because Franklin just cannot beat us, no matter how hard he tries, seemingly. So, that's really all I got to say about the Nittany Lions. Again, I went through their recruiting class, no 5 stars, 16 4s and 8 3s. And I think they're going to be good. They're going to be just like where they are in recruiting. They're going to be right behind us and the team up north. And then, of course, I already went through their team. You know, Aller's there, good receiving core, amazing running back duo. I mean, yeah, like I said, one of the best running back duos in the nation. I almost said league, in the conference for sure. Nation, yes, definitely. All right, moving on. Let's get closer to the top 5 as we get to number 6 and Lincoln Riley's USC Trojans, the future Big Ten team. Of course, they once again had a very good year, but not as good as you'd want. They folded at the absolute worst time last year. They have the number 5 recruiting class according to 247 Sports in the Big Ten. And you look at their schedule from last year, and they were good, as you'd expect. Oh yeah, Tanner Bybee got out of that one big time. Big stuff from Tanner. Tanner, yeah, freaking love Tanner Bybee. Wow, through 5, up 3-1. Ramon Laureano, Razor Ramon. Love it. So last year, you look at the USC schedule. Of course, they played tomorrow too. Don't forget. But last year, they did not lose a game until they lost to Utah by 1 point on the road. They were dispatching opponents left and right, except for Oregon State, who they only beat by 3. Everyone else, they had really no issue with. Then after they beat Utah, they had their bye. They only beat Arizona by 8. Then they had some trouble with Cal, but then they got their act together. They smashed Colorado, which, I mean, at this point, who didn't smash Colorado? Then they barely beat UCLA by 3. Then they beat Notre Dame by 11. And then in the Pac-12 title game, they lost by a lot to Utah. And then in the most hilarious game ever, which all of us haters loved it. You hate USC? No, just Lincoln Riley because he's a douchebag, and yeah, he's corny too. But they lost to Tulane in the Cotton Bowl by 1 point. You love to see it. So we talk about their schedule this year and how are they going to bounce back? Well, yeah, they have another rather easier schedule. They should have really no issue getting back to the title game unless they underperform. But with Caleb Williams, they're not going to underperform. Nah, they have a loaded roster. They're not going nowhere. So you look at their schedule, they should easily be undefeated all the way up until the Notre Dame game. Yeah. I don't think anybody gives them any fuss. Maybe Colorado does, but I don't even know. I mean, they should be undefeated until the Notre Dame game. I think they beat Notre Dame low key. Utah will be tough. Washington, Oregon, and UCLA, of course, they're going to be tough games. I think they lose maybe 2 games. I think they lose one of Notre Dame, Utah, and then I think they lose one of Washington, Oregon, and UCLA. Just those 2 games. Two games out of those 5. We'll see how that goes. But I think there'll be another. I think there'll be a very good team. Uh, and it's off the wall. Oh, I thought Gonzalez has hit another dinger, but he got in the second though. Good stuff, Oscar. But yeah, I like what I've seen out of USC. They're going to be a very tough team when they head to the Big Ten. You look at their roster, of course. Yeah, you know, Heisman Trophy candidate again, and Caleb Williams, Austin Jones, running back, Marshawn Lloyd coming over from South Carolina, Darwin Barlow. Yeah, they're going to be good. Brendan Rice, Dorian Singer, Mario Williams, former Sooner at receiver with Micaiah Lemon. Oh yeah, they'll be good. Zachariah Branch, Jacoby Lane, Deuce Robinson, Rayleigh Brown at receiver. Yeah, they'll be right back where they were last year. Probably in the Pac-12 title game, and we'll see who they face. And it's my opinion. I mean, they could underperform, but I doubt it. I highly doubt they underperform. They're too damn good to do that. Of course, I would be concerned about their defense, though. Mainly because Alex Grinch is a freaking idiot loser who freaking can't do a defense. Trust me, we had to deal with his defense in freaking Ohio State. He's a bum. But yeah, I think they'll be good. And then, of course, recruiting wise, they're 5th in the recruiting. Yeah. So now let's get into the top 5. Finally, it only took me almost took me 2 hours to get to the top 5, but we're getting into LSU. Of course, Brian Kelly, overall solid team over there. Let's get to the LSU now. It took me 2 hours to get through these guys, man. My God. So let's go to the SEC, LSU. Oh, is this going to get down? Nope. Done. All right, so we look up LSU in recruiting and their roster. I think they're going to have another very, very good team this year. Mhm. I think they are going to be a very solid team this year. Do I think they're going to win the SEC? I don't know, because Georgia exists. They could make it back. I don't know if they'll win it, though. It's always fun to keep an eye on it, see how they do. Recruiting wise, in the SEC, LSU, as you would expect, is, I think, top of the leaderboard, right up there with Georgia and Alabama. As soon as yep. So they are actually 6th. So they're top 10. Solid recruiting class, just behind A&M. Literally just behind A&M. They could easily pass them with maybe another good recruiter too. Schedule wise, last year, of course, they started off with a very great game against Florida State, an instant classic. They lost by 1 to Florida State because of a blocked field goal. Then they rattled off 4 straight wins, beating Southern, Mississippi State, New Mexico, and Auburn. They got smacked by Tennessee. They then went out and took care of Florida and Ole Miss. And then UAB, Arkansas, Alabama by 1. That was an instant classic. Then they lose to Texas A&M. Then they get smacked by Georgia. Then they responded in the Citrus Bowl by destroying Purdue. So yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be a good team this year, of course. 2023 schedule for the LSU Tigers. Let's pull it up here. Again, Florida State, like I mentioned, at Camping World Stadium in Florida this year. Hey, that's gonna score a run. Let's go. Floriano again. Yeah. Oh, they face Grambling this year. Oh, Hugh Jackson. That little roach. Friggin' snake. Loser. But yeah, Grambling State. Interesting. Then you have Mississippi State. By the way, that Florida State game's on Sunday. Final Sunday before NFL, pretty much, and we're gonna see some from college football. Can't freaking wait. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Ole Miss. Yeah, very good schedule, favorable. I expect a lot of wins for LSU this year. Yeah, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be damn good. Now you look at their roster, and back Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeyer backing him up. Josh Williams at running back with Logan Diggs, Noah Kane, Harron Lacey, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors at receiver, Chris Hilton, Shelton Sampson, Aaron Anderson. Overall, solid group. Defense, Savion Jones, Mekhi Wingo, Jordan Jefferson, Ovi Ogufo, Omar Spates, Harold Perkins. That's a name that immediately jumps out to you. He's one of the top linebackers, from what I've heard. Deuce Chestnut, Sage Ryan. Yeah, very good team. They're going to be up there in the SEC again. Yeah, they will be, without a doubt. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the top five here at number 4. We are going to get right to it here. Number 4 is Alabama, of course, because you can't talk about LSU without talking about Alabama, right? So Alabama last year, definitely one of their more mid seasons, even though they were 11-2. Not really that great of a team for the most part. I mean, it was to the point where they literally were begging the committee to let them in they were begging the committee to let them into the playoff. The committee just laughed at them. But you look at their schedule last year, they lost to Tennessee and LSU. I mean, they beat everybody else pretty convincingly. In the Sugar Bowl, they took care of Kansas State. Their team overall was mid, but like record wise, they were very good. I mean, they didn't really have anybody that Bryce Young, of course. This year's team is probably going to be the mid part of their team. They've taken a little dip in recruiting at receiver lately, if you've noticed. I mean, I'm sure they'll be right back at it later, as always. Number 3 ranked recruiting class. Now you look at their schedule, about SEC. And then, of course, they have Chattanooga as the usual cupcake game at the end of the year, as they always do. They're probably going to lose no less than 2 games. That's a common theme with these SEC teams. Very good. I could see them losing maybe to like LSU or Tennessee. Yeah. One of those 2 games. Iron Bowl, they could lose that one. Auburn does look nice lately. I don't think they lose probably 2 games. One of Tennessee, LSU, and maybe like they lose a game that they should win, like Texas. They could lose to Texas and then Tennessee or LSU. One of those 2. So, yeah, that's what I got for you guys there in terms of schedule. Roster. Jalen Milroe at quarterback. Although, from what I've heard, Tyler Buckner from Notre Dame could take the job. Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonergan. Yeah, their quarterback is not very good. Jermaine Burton, Ja'Cory Brooks, Isaiah Bond at receiver. Malik Benson, Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law, Jalen Hale, Shaz Preston, Emmanuel Henderson. Yeah, good receiving core. Jace McClellan at running back with Roydell Williams, Justice Haynes, Richard Young. Yeah, they're good at every position except for quarterback for the most part. CJ Dupree transfer at tight end. Like I said, they're good at every position except quarterback. Not too often do you see that. And of course, Caden Proctor, who flipped from Iowa, is now their left tackle at Alabama. So nice. You look at their defense, and their defense is always going to be good. Yep. Caleb Downs, of course, is there. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Malachi Moore, Earl Little the second. Yep. Devontae. Wait, they have a Devontae Smith on defense? That's weird. People are going to see that and go, wait a minute. Devontae Smith? Jihad Campbell. Yeah, they have some damn good players. Damon Payne Jr. Wow. Yeah, their defense is going to be damn good. Jamarian Latham, Monkel Goodwine. Yeah, they're going to be really good. Keon Keeley should have been a Buckeye, of course. Yeah, like I said, they're going to be in the running for the ICC with Georgia and LSU. Yeah, maybe even Tennessee. We'll see. Yeah, their schedule looks nice. Recruiting class is amazing. Jalen Backway, Julian Sayin at quarterback. Yeah, be all right for next year. Now we get to the top three, and of course, you got to start with my Buckeyes. And much like Alabama, Ohio State's only weakness is essentially at quarterback. Number one in the Big Ten in recruiting, no surprise. And you look at our schedule last year, I mean, we only had one hiccup, and that was, of course, against the damn Wolverines. Of course. Other than that, we looked relatively great, except for that Northwestern game, which, let's be real, Buckeye fans love to blame the weather, which the weather was rowdy in that game. It was very rowdy. Rainy, windy, ugly game. Thank God we have good running backs, and we somehow managed to squeak a win in that one. But it got scary. Yep, that one got unnecessarily scary. Didn't need to be, but it was anyway. So last year, we beat Notre Dame, destroyed Arkansas State and Toledo. Wisconsin, no problem. Rutgers, of course. Sparty, no problem again. Iowa, Penn State, that was a problem until late when JT Tuimoloau decided I'm gonna take over this damn game myself. Then we had a bit of an issue with Northwestern, beat them by 2 touchdowns. But yeah, it was ugly for like a full half. Ugh. Beat up on Indiana, got by Maryland. Then, of course, we lost back to back to Team Up North and, of course, Georgia. But we honestly could have beaten Georgia. But Noah Ruggles freaking missed the big field goal. He pulled a Cade York. Yeah, he pulled a Cade York. Wow. Well, so we look at this year's schedule, and get very good schedule for the Buckeyes. Indiana to start, Youngstown State, Western Kentucky, and Notre Dame. 4-0 after four, and heading into the bye week is always nice. Coming out, you have Maryland, Purdue, should be relatively good games. I think Ohio State handles pretty well. By that time, whoever the quarterback is, whether it's McCord or Brown, they should be in full go, full swing, and this offense should be humming. And hopefully the defense really takes over until that happens. Penn State's going to be tough, as always, but it's at home, so I like our chances there. Wisconsin on the road at night? Facing Luke Fickell. Oh, boy. I think Ohio State handles it, but I think it'll be close. I think Ohio State wins. Rutgers, that'll probably be a game where like the backups are in by like halftime or something. We always handle Rutgers really well. They can't beat us. I don't think they've ever beaten us. It's actually impressive. Some watermelon. I'm gonna eat that later. Sparty, Minnesota. Team Up North on the road. Swear to God, if we lose to these losers 3 straight years, Ryan Day, buddy, what are you doing? Oh, I just hope our guys don't get caught looking ahead. they're going to be ready to go for that game on November 25th. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. You look at the roster for Ohio State, and as always, it's loaded to the gills, especially at receiver. We have arguably one of the best receivers. No, not arguably. We have the best receiver in the nation in Marvin Harrison Jr. Ncaa Buka ain't someone to overlook either. And we have five stars, and I expect that number to possibly grow. As soon as it loads up, I will get it to you guys here. But yeah, I am very intrigued by how this team's going to look. I think we probably go at worst 11-1. Yeah, ain't nobody really scares me on this schedule. Nobody's really scared me in a while. Jeremiah Smith, Mylan Graham, Justin Scott, Edric Houston. Those are the 5 stars. And overall, loving our recruiting class. Now, roster wise, of course, like I said, one of the best receiver in the nation, in Marvin Harrison. Julian Fleming is still here. I think he'll have a pretty good year. Ncaa Buka, Carnell Tate, who's been a beast in camp. Jaden Ballard, Xavier Johnson, the Swiss Army knife, Kojo Antwi, Noah Rogers, Brandon Ennis. Yep, Bryson Rogers too, among others. Running backs, you still have the same core as last year. No changes at all. Mayan Williams, Travion Henderson are still here. Dallin Hayden, Chip Trainum, and even Evan Pryor. The defense is what's going to be my thing. Yeah, how's the defense going to look? Up front, JT, of course, Ty Hamilton, Michael Hall, Jack Sawyer. You have Tommy Eichenberg at linebacker with Steel Chambers. Secondary is going to be fun. Denzel Burke, you have Lathan Ransom, Proctor, Hancock, and unfortunately Cameron Martinez, I think, hurt himself, so I don't think he'll be ready to go. But you have Jihad Carter, Ryan Turner, Jermaine Matthews, Lorenzo Styles is over here from Notre Dame, joining his brother Sonny. This team is going to be very good. And as long as we don't underperform and everyone stays healthy and we're good, I think we'll be in the Big Ten title game. And we're probably going to be adding another championship, Big Ten championship, to our resume. So now let's get to number 2. The number 2 team, the team up north. Yep, got to talk about the team up north because, of course, right? Number 2 recruiting class, I believe, in the Big Ten, according to 247 Sports. And you look at their schedule heading into, from last year. Of course, they went damn near undefeated, 13-1. Their loss coming in the playoff against TCU. But yeah, their schedule, they had some scares, but overall they were able to survive. Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn, trash. They escaped against Maryland. They barely got, well, they didn't barely, but they beat them by 2 touchdowns. They beat Iowa. They beat up on Indiana. They crushed Penn State. They took down Sparty, destroyed Rutgers, crushed Nebraska, barely beat Illinois, and then they took us down, and then they beat Purdue in the Big Ten title game pretty handily, and then they lose to TCU. Yeah. Now, again, like I said, they're number 2 recruiting, and you look at their roster, and I think they have probably one of the better rosters from top to bottom in the nation. This is from a Buckeye fan, of course. You can't hide the fact that their roster is damn good. You can't overlook that. Now you look at their schedule this year, and it's important to note that I think Jim Harbaugh will be suspended, or Coach Harbaugh will be suspended for the first 3 games. East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. Come on. Then face Rutgers. We'll see how that one goes. Then you have Nebraska, Minnesota, Indiana, and Sparty. I don't see many chances for them to lose. Maybe they lose like a game like Nebraska or something. I don't see them losing too many times this year. Again. Oh, they still got him. Nice. Nice throw, Bybee. Good stuff. Purdue, Penn State, Maryland, and us to end their season. I think Penn State could give them a run for their money. Don't sleep on Maryland, and then Ohio State. It's it's going to be a tough final 3 weeks for them, without a doubt. Yep. But I think they'll be right up there with us and Penn State for the Big Ten East, as always. Now you look at their roster. You look at their roster, and again, one of the best rosters from top to bottom in the nation. J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards at running back, just like Penn State and us. One of the best running back duos in the nation. Receivers, Cornelius Johnson, Darius Clemens, Roman Wilson. Very solid receiving core. Good offensive line, one of the best in the nation. Defense has always been solid. It'll be interesting to see how their defense does this year. Will Johnson's one of the guys to keep an eye on as well. But yeah, Chris Jenkins, Mason Graham up front, Braden McGregor. Yeah, can't hide that. Even I can't even like be a hater and say, oh yeah, this team stinks. And it's now 4-2 because Bybee threw a bad pitch to Guerrero, of course. Yep, Sandra's still at Nickelback. Yeah, gonna be good. Yep, they're gonna be fine. We'll see how they do without Harbaugh though. Without old Jimmy Harbaugh. But now it's time to wrap this thing up with the number one team in the ranking, the Georgia Bulldogs. After almost 2.5 hours, we're finally at the number one team in the nation. Jeez, this took forever. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Georgia a little bit here. Well, not Oregon. I want Georgia. Come on, get over to Georgia. There we go. So Georgia, surprise, surprise, number one recruiting class in the SEC, number one recruiting class overall. Yeah, 4 5 stars, 17 fours, and 3 5s and 5 3 stars. They are going to be a threat to three-peat. Dylan Raiola, former Buckeye commit, number one recruit, I think, in the nation. Yep. Ellis Robinson, Justin Williams, all 5 stars. Yeah. Yep, of course. Georgia's schedule last year, they faced no resistance really at all. I mean, they beat everybody. I mean, come on. They're back to back national champs, undefeated, never lost. And you look at their schedule last year, nobody really gave them fits. I mean, Kent State actually did challenge them a little bit, but that's not really saying a whole lot. I mean, they still lost by 17. Actually, Mizzou. Yeah, Mizzou gave them fits too. They almost beat them. And other than that, I mean, nobody else really challenged them like that. I mean, Tennessee lost by 14. Florida lost by 22. LSU lost by 20. Ohio State, yeah, nobody gave them fits except for us. We only lost to them by 1 point. We should have beat them. Yeah, we were carving up their freaking defense like crazy, and then TCU got smushed. So yeah, that's how it went. So you look at their schedule for this year, and you think to yourself, can they repeat? It's very possible they can. UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, Auburn, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Florida, Mizzou, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Georgia Tech. Yeah, it's a decent schedule. I mean, but I don't expect them to really have. I mean, they could possibly lose to like Florida, Tennessee, maybe. Other than that, not too many chances for them to lose. Maybe South Carolina, but yeah, very few chances to lose. So we're probably going to be seeing them in the SEC title game again. Tight end Brock Bowers, arguably one of the top prospects overall, heading into next year's draft. Marcus Rosemy Jack Saints, Lad McConkey, Dominic Levetts, receiver. Yeah, they are definitely going to be a force this year. Defense, He returned quite a few guys too, but they lost a lot. I'm interested to see how their defense looks this year. But that's really all I gotta say, guys. So, after almost 2.5 hours, this stream is finally coming to an end, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. I went through the entire AP Top 25 on ESPN, and I didn't just fly. I didn't, blow through every team. I talked about each team in relative detail. So I'm going to end this stream and get to my lovely bowl of delicious. Look at that! It's floating watermelon. But yeah, I'm gonna get to my watermelon and devour it. So I'm gonna wrap this up, guys, and I will see you all tomorrow afternoon for the final Browns game of the preseason. Browns Chiefs, and we'll see who gets cut afterwards. Sounds like Anthony Schwartz will be one of them because he's not playing tomorrow. Wow, that's going to be weird. So we'll see what happens. But with that being said, guys, as always, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you all tomorrow. All right? And with that being said, go Buckeyes. And college football is back tomorrow. Yeah. All right, guys. See you later. I'm out. Bye bye. Yeah. God, 2.5 hours. This went forever. Bye.